Hello everyone, this is Foxhound coming back again with another second review or gameplay. Today I'm going to double check on this Rodrigo Avella. I actually spent on two of them. This is actually 5 hours before it expires. So let's see, it was worth the investment. So we're going to try these two Rodrigo Avellas and then we're going to see what happens. Now we're going to put play on this one. As I did the test, I realized that they don't turn as it feels like. They don't turn as well as the Hellcat, but of course, I mean that's not a big of an issue. But we're going to see how it performs over here. If it's such a big deal, the 60 pounds, or if you should just consider sticking with your wonderful Hellcats. Bear in mind this is online and this is not ranked, so I am subject to, how can I put it in words, right? I'm subject to how well these people play, and here people are not being competitive, so disclaimer over there. So Rodrigo Abella, you have two of them instead of three. So far the turning is not so bad, but I noticed that the first missile over here you can spam more, makes it easier. On top of that, you can increase the resistance of the strike fighter on top of that. So this is going to be a major spam that is going to be presented over here. Yeah, we already had one down, but still the damage is still going and going. So I'm going to try, let's put it this way, to... Yep, that was it. We did a good amount of damage. Of course, it's time for us to actually put ourselves into cover. And I'm also going to check how quickly it is reload. Until that happens, of course, I'm going to attack a little bit of air over here. But yeah, 500 damage, actually, it's pretty good, considering that they died. I mean, considering it was not like 3 volleys on the two of them, but actually 2 on 500 is actually pretty nice. So yeah, so far it seems that it's completely worth it. I'll have to play a couple of matches because this is technically over. But yeah, it seems that it's overall a nice strike fighter. I'm going really to abuse over here this. Yeah. Smokes, of course. Smokes. Again, nothing bad with that, of course, because it's the last player, so we should not be complaining too much about it, if I'm honest. But yeah, he's just completely destroyed. And of course, the positive about the Rodrigo Abella is that even though the nuke is the one that does the most damage, you still have a lot of missiles that are anti-flare that can do a substantial amount of damage. So yeah, that was first match over here. Let's go for the second match. How am I feeling about it? Again, this strike fighter will require a couple of matches in order to master. But it is slightly more easy to use, absolutely. The only issue that it may have in the future is that it may get nerfed. Hopefully not. That will be terrible for someone to spend this amount of money just for something to be nerfed. That's why I was a little hesitant on spending into this, if I'm completely honest. But oh well, my channel is mainly on CVs and ACVs, so here we are. Rodrigo Avella, F-47 Phoenix on the second round. Let's see how we do over here. In this map, remember, you have to try to do as much damage as possible, and then you want to try to put yourself into safety. So don't try to do big maneuvers with the strike fighter. Just as soon as you see something, strike hitting, because then afterwards you have to try to hide as quickly as possible. Okay, so there we go. We're going to start our alignment. Good, so here we go. We're going to hit everything that shows up first. We're going to hit on that. Of course, the only another thing that happens, because you have two of them, Still, if you have someone that has like anti like missiles that hit air, it can hurt a little bit. Again, we have done what we needed to. What the hell is this guy doing, right? Remember, on this map, it's not. We don't want to spend a lot of time trying to keep our planes alive, because as soon as we are done with our attack, we need to move, because we are going to be the main target of everyone. Alright, so now we are on cover over here. Apologies that someone is calling. Yeah, but I am in the middle of a recording, so I cannot respond. But oh well, let's see how it performs on a single normal attack, like assuming that we are not losing chain of attacks. Thing that I'm realizing is again, it is more easy for you to lose a lot of what's it called? My focus. Yes, it is very easy for you to lose a strike fighter. You have to be very careful because you only have two of them. Of course, they have more defense, but at the same time, you realize, yes, because you have less, you actually find yourself with more difficulties dealing with that. So let's start going on the offensive over here. Yes, I'm recording. Okay, we're going to start hitting on this. Yeah, I am finding that problem over here. Now this plane, pretty much because you only have two of them, you're not able to do. Hello, Aurorita Magir is here somewhere.
You skipped to us.
Who Aurorita escaped? And Magir, where's Magir? Oh, hello. Aurorita, how are you doing? Yeah, apologies, I don't have my niece coming over here, so yeah. Yes. Again, apologies to my niece over here, so I have to deal with that as well. Not much that I can do about that. But again, as I am more focused on things like that, I have to say that this plane, hello. This plane actually is not performing as much as it should. But oh well, that pretty much happened. I guess I'm going to come back after I finish this match. Okay, we are back. Apologies for that. I have my small niece storming on the room, but we are going to go into the third one. But still, as I was saying, even though it can do a lot of power because you only have two, and someone is using anti-plane missiles, it can get a little bit tricky. With a Hellcat, even if they take out one of the planes, you still have two and you can do some damage. But again, at the beginning, remember I said like this is, I mean, you need to take a lot of matches in order to really master a plane. You don't just grab it and start using it straight away. So we are going to try again with this attack over here, right? We are able to spam over here. Now we are able to throw, okay, it's the most important thing, which is the nuke. I'm going to send this one back, yeah. And yeah, we are able to do some substantial damage. We still have not lost any strike fighters yet. So this time around we are going to take some time to keep our distance. We are going to launch the last build on this one and start coming back. Okay, time to escape and see if we can continue our assault. Let's see how we do with speed. Are we able to escape this barrage? I think we will. Someone is trying to target us. Someone is trying to be a hero. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, yeah, doing reverse a little bit. Let's go up over here, right? Also we're going to launch our second one. So yeah, someone really wanted to blind target us from distance. So who's going to be our target over here? I think he is just simply there. Lovely, okay, so that was the second match. I think I have still someone that is trying to target me on the back. Let's see what damage we can do over here. Very good damage. So I'm finding with this one that the matches are ending very quickly with low damage. And that is a good thing, because not everything is damage. That means that your team is staying alive, because you are doing a good job. So we have this third match over here happening, 500 or 787, which is pretty good. Overall good damage. Yeah, nothing to complain really. Let's go into the fourth match, and then yeah, I'm going to tell my final verdict on this strike fighter. Although I think that in reality you may need to have a couple more matches in order to finally say yes, it's better or not than Hellcat. But well, I'm going to try my best to say what's my take on it. Please, let's add another player over here so we don't have to play against bots. That will be very nice, thank you. So something to bear in mind with this strike fighter, again, as I mentioned, the only downside is like, because it's only two of them, once one is down, you lose half of your damage capability. The Hellcat, you still have two of them, and that is sufficient enough to do some good damage. And let's see what we are dealing with over here. A Typhoon. So we are going to we're going to see who tries to come here. It seems that on the left side is going to be good. So I am going to start climbing. Maybe we're going to start attacking here. Good. Okay. So one thing about this strike fighter, again, you can attack from pretty far. And that is something to consider, because well, usually you want to hit your missiles and bait with the nuke as you get close, something that used for example for the Hellcat, that you will only use your missiles and the short missiles before going to the big one. Let's try to take cover, because obviously I'm going to be the main target. Over here we have some lovely people in this side that are really enjoying their lovely missiles, and of course you are going to have as well your fans in the form of submarine, so we're going to be more careful about this as well. So I'm going to take my time to position myself well. We're ahead on damage. Also I noticed that the strike fighter managed to reload, so we're going to park over here and continue our assault. We can also hit submarines as well, so we can always give a good welcome to the submarine, right? And try to hit. Something that I would recommend is try to use the missile that does not target air, so that way you don't confuse when you are pursuing an attack. I'm going to start hitting the submarine again. Yeah, the anti-submarine capability is insane. The damage is just too much. So down goes the submarine. Yeah, that's one big advantage that this has. So we are going to shoot again with a short range. This is the proper way of using it. And there goes the nukes. Well, he's dead already. So again, shoot this, and then we're going to shoot the nukes. The only thing about the nukes is that they are very slow, but they hit like a truck. So there goes the missile again. There goes the nuke, but you see it's very slow. So I think with this type of strike fighter, you need to try to aim to throw the nuke first before throwing the other missiles. It's all about timing. The Hellcat, the nuke missiles are faster actually, so that's why you launch them last. But here the missiles are so slow. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a matter of timing. This time I got 1,400,000. Let's see what happens over here. 600 on both sides. I think I'm going to do one final match. I lost count of how many we had at the moment. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess one final one. It's going to be a total of 5 matches. And then I'm going to tell you my final thoughts about it. This map is something I don't like to. I mean, it's a good map, don't get me wrong, I play in map, but it cannot be helped. This is going to be it. No, this map is okay, don't get me wrong. But if you are on the right side, which is. Yes, this is the case, then you will have to spend more time trying to hide yourself. That's the best thing that you can do, right? Open them up very quickly as much as possible, but you have to focus more on staying alive rather than anything else. So, full speed ahead on this side, and as we are on that process, we're going to start maneuvering. Again, remember the priority is in this map in particular is to keep your carrier alive, okay? Because we're going to be the main target over here. Yes, we're going to throw everything. Once we are able to hide, then all good, so perfect. Of course, a little bit of assistance from the team will help as well, right? Yep, there we go. Again, as I mentioned, a little bit of assistance will help, but that match ended on a dot. So I guess I'm going to come back into the next one. Okay, final match, and guess on what? Storm. It doesn't. This is the. If you want to flip a coin, this is the flip of a coin. Yeah, this is. If the previous map was a flip, this one is going to be even the flipper. But we're going to try our best in this one. Of course, you have to try to keep the map open, do damage, but I mean, let's see what we go over here. So, out of a distance, I don't think there are battleships. I'm not quite sure. Throw everything. Launch your fighter. So this is 2 battleships against 2 battleships. We're going to start process over here, right? Oh, he's going to have a terrible time. Massachusetts is super dead. And this wonderful. Yeah, that was it. They really had a very bad time. So we are going to try to. Oh, but we also lost a lot of ships on our side as well, so it is not over. But we managed to take out most of their battleships, if not all their battleships, so that's a positive thing. We are going to continue our escape over here. Okay, so let's try to open the map a little bit. And we're going to wait for our second strike fighter to reload. So remember, keep the map open, and your team will be able to really support you on this one. So in this case, I am actually neglecting the idea of doing damage in order to keep them above me, and that was game. So we're not too bad, not too bad. I think this strike fighter is not something that you just pick and start doing damage. You really need to learn on the timings of the missiles in order to perform well. So yeah, I'm going to give my final thoughts at the end of the match. This Vittorio Veneto is pretty much Gustonzo at this point. That was game. So, final statistics of the game: 157, not too bad. Kronstadt, of course, Kronstadt. This map is for Kronstadt, so good for this person over here. So, what are my final thoughts about this particular strike fighter? I have mixed opinions. I think that you need. It's not something that you pick and you just going to do a lot of damage. Yes, it can perform as equal as Hellcat, but you have to get used on the missile. Something that I don't like in particular is that the nuke missile actually is pretty slow, and the Hellcat is actually very quick. So when you launch your second missile and then the nuke actually catches up to the other missiles. Here, on the other hand, is so slow that ends up being by itself. But the positive thing about this is that you have another missile that is able to do damage, and you have plenty of them, so you can continue attacking. So overall, is it worth it? If you are like a real heavy fan of carriers and sub carriers, yes, maybe. However, you can always, if you decide not to buy it, you will not be losing a lot. If I'm completely honest, I think Hellcat performs very well. The only downside about Hellcat is that sometimes they continue nerfing things in order to make sure that people buy the new things, right? So that's just the name of the game. But overall, that's my opinion on this one. I hope that you like this video. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. This is Foxhound signing off. Have a good day, everyone.